Hello and welcome to Wingin It, and you join us again here for another tournament game of Wingspan. We've got another post-commentated game here, so I will be watching this back and giving a little bit of insight into my thought process and decision making as the game plays out. So we're going first here in this game. We are going to jump in and we're going to see what we've got in our starting hand here, and you will see it's not an especially good one. So do have some wetland options, of course, which I think you always hope to see, but not too many good brown powers really. And yeah, we're going to have potentially a little bit of a difficult decision, maybe not on the bonus card. Having omnivore there always helpful, but kind of a plethora of not very good wetland birds here really. So you see we do have the Australasian Shoveler, which could be a tempting one, of course, with the brown power being able to get extra cards, but it's always kind of risky, I feel like, early in the game like this to be giving away cards to your opponent. I mean, there's no guarantee they're going to be able to get down a wetland bird and start seeing some cards. So see, I'm actually looking at this Barris Goldeneye instead, just as, maybe that sort of Hail Mary, that hope of finding something good for the forest that maybe has a cavity nest, and then maybe we can get some free eggs as the game goes on. So yeah, we do go with the Goldeneye there. So I'll say maybe a slightly unusual decision, I think. There's definitely going to be a lot of people out there, maybe some of you watching, who would have rather gone with the Shoveler, played that, do that digging. But as I say, I think not the greatest brown power for me in this situation, giving away cards like that. And yeah, it's maybe a little bit of a gamble. Maybe it's sort of hoping that we can find that cavity nest, but I say if we can do a little bit of digging, certainly I'll be looking at maybe spending some food here to be resetting this tray early on. I think that's certainly something I like to do if the tray's not great. I think that's another real struggle in this start, is not having a great tray. So something like that crossbill could be tempting. There is potentially an option there to pick that up, play it, take a bit of food, get the Goldeneye down, and then start digging. But you'll see from that's just quite a long time, I think, to be getting something set up that, again, is not really that good. Crossbow power is okay, but giving away free food and only being able to get seeds rather than some points or maybe some more flexible food is not the greatest. So we're going to go ahead play our Goldeneye turn one, and you may have seen their opponent also only kept one bird, so potentially we're both not having great starting hands there. I feel like it's quite unusual in these Oceania games where just keeping that one bird. I feel like normally you at least have some options, other things to work with. So yeah, seeing us both kind of just keep the one bird is definitely unusual. So we'll see. It is a wetland bird, but again, not a great one. So will it sort of struggling for the brown powers for us both. So we're going to go ahead and spend that food, as I say, and it immediately pays off because we get some great options. So Common Grackle and Alduin Skull, both hitting the omnivore, both potentially helping us in this wetlands, maybe get a bit more card access and some points going. So yeah, definitely saving me a little bit there, as I say, from not a great starting hand to immediately discarding that food, finding some good options. I say that's why I like discarding that food, is you just see more cards, give yourself that option. And even after that, some other nice birds coming up. So something like that Rufous Owl may be a tempter. But really at this stage of the game, what I'm thinking is find something nice and cheap. I mean, I'll say a nice little chickadee or a nuthatch or something like that to get going in the forest. Just one of those one food birds. See, I deliberately kept hold of the nectar. When spending the food for the Goldeneye, just spent the normal food, keep the nectar, give yourself that flexibility where, if you kind of give yourself an option for whatever birds comes up, you can play that. And you see my opponent's doing the same thing here, spending the food, and again, I think it's sort of paying off, getting some better options here. Maybe Phoebe might be something that they look at going for, but if not, it's kind of the bird I would certainly be looking for just to get something going. But indeed, Phoebe is taken, so we're just going to go ahead and keep drawing a little bit, because I do think, I do want to find some potential options. This is why I'm starting to think. I'm starting to plan a little bit about, what I could be doing in this forest, because there is potential here actually with the 2 nectar there. Spend one turn, discard a card, get the couple of food. I'm sort of thinking maybe what my opponent is going to do is something with that Phoebe, maybe even just keep digging. So we do pick up the owl, and could be an option, as I say, just to get something down. Not quite the cheap option I was looking for. 3 food, obviously very expensive, but it's a big point bird. It's a good brown power. Get that down in the forest. So we may well look at going with that. But in the meantime, opponents still drawing, still resetting this tray, and maybe not quite such a good one there, but really aggressive here. We're seeing lots and lots of different cards coming up here, which I think, in this early game, definitely nice to have those options available to you. So, given that the food was there, the nectar, as I say, we're going to grab that, get rid of the loom, which I don't think really is something we're going to look at playing, but definitely got some interesting decisions here, because as I say, birds like the grackle and the Aldrin's Gull kind of scream, go for the full tuck, go for the wetlands, get them both down there, start drawing some cards, really scoring lots of points, and then, you're looking for that mute swan type bird to really cap it off. But equally, there is maybe a world here in which grackle doesn't go in the wetlands. I mean, could potentially work here as a forest option just to get something going up there. And maybe with the Aldrins in the wetlands getting us extra cards there, we should be able to do the tuck in the grackle in the forest. And we're getting the egg as well, which, we've got to think about our egg access. At the moment, Goldeneye is it, and we still don't have the cavity nest. And that makes things a struggle. And talking of egg access, we've got this Pukeko coming up, which is a very nice option and hits Omnivore as well. So we're kind of, really trying to look at that bonus card to Omnivore, try and score as many points as we can off that. As I say, already got a couple of good options. And this parrot coming up, so there's another potential egg access in the forest maybe. So you're seeing, having a little bit of a look at that, having a little bit of a think. Can I make this work? But it's one of those birds where in a 2-player game, it's just so tricky to work with. Giving a nectar every time you use it to your opponent, you're sort of giving up on the nectar race. You're giving away points there, so it really, does hamper the benefit you get from that bird. So might still be an option. We might sort of see what we can do there, but I'm very much thinking here at this stage of the game. Certainly this stage is around 3 turns left. If I can play the grackle, take food, I'm going to have the egg, maybe to play another bird. Maybe we look at playing, that owl, get something going in the forest. But even Pukeko, it's a big point left, so it might be something we look at for this end around. But there we go, grackle in the forest. So again, slightly unconventional. Maybe not how a lot of people would play this. I think, I say, you kind of see the grackle and the Aldrins come up together. You sort of immediately think, right, get these down in the wetlands and just keep drawing. But I could certainly see a situation where you go for that and you just really struggle for food, not building anything out in the forest. So you get those extra engine birds and you're not able to play them. That is a bit of a problem. So we do see Phoebe go down in the forest, so we might get some free worms there. Honestly, I would be okay with that. I think with all these birds we want to be playing, and certainly with these omnivore birds, where you've got the wild food cost, just give yourself that flexibility where, if that free food does come through, you've got that option to really make the most of it there. So we do go take food. We get lucky on the reroll, getting some nectar. So we're getting lots of options, and you see them sort of like just weighing up. Do I want to play this Aldrins first? Maybe I don't take all the nectar, play the Aldrins instead. Maybe I just play the owl in the forest, keep it simple. Maybe I do play this Pukeko. So I say it could be a nice option to get down. I think Parrot has got to go here. We've got to tuck something, and it's definitely the least valuable of the birds in my hand. So we've got to get the tuck and the egg, the points, but I'd say the egg really critical here, just for tempo reasons, to be able to start getting birds down without having to go and lay eggs is definitely very, very nice. And that's kind of why I'm thinking maybe Pukeko might be the way here, where I can see get that down in the wetlands, set ourselves up going into round 2, where if we want to draw cards again, we can start getting those eggs coming through, and that's definitely going to be helpful again, just for playing more birds. So we do indeed go ahead and play that Pukeko. So just really building up this wetlands a little bit. I'd say would like to get this Aldrin's Gull down. It's probably next on my list, maybe. I mean, the feeder's not really looking great, so we may have to wait and see, depending on if that gets moved or if we can get some other birds down first. But we're rebuilding up something good here, and I think given the starting hand, where I say we just started with that golden eye didn't really build out anything too great. We started to recover a little bit here. And got to say, same for my opponent, building out a nice wetlands here with the Grebe, and a very, very nice trace come up for them in round 2. Violet Green Swallow and American Robin is, yeah, not really what I wanted to see, and they've already got the good card access now built out. They've already got the Phoebe in the forest, giving more worms, so, you know, those birds eat plenty of worms. Getting those down will be easy enough. But it'd be interesting to see where they go, because of course if it's in the grasslands, build out a strong engine there. We've already got the counter in the golden eye and the pink power down, so we kind of do need to find the cavity nest. That, as I say, it's not really been forthcoming yet, but maybe something nice in the tray is going to come up, and indeed Gold's Finch appearing there for us. So that's a nice option, definitely a good bird, I think, in any situation, you know, being able to use those yellow powers. Play these extra birds at the end of the game, always helpful, but yeah, in this situation where, you know, I'm looking for that cavity nest to be able to get the extra eggs, definitely a strong option. So no hesitation, go grab that, get a bit of fodder off the top of the deck. But honestly, that's okay, because as long as we've got this Grackle, you know, we're always going to need these extra cards. So kind of not too fussy if we do get some duds along the way. But yeah, that's kind of why I want to get this Ordwin Skull in the game as well, because such good power, obviously. You know, you get the tuck guarantee, but you get the extra card, and if I know that extra card with the Grackle, we can turn that into a tuck and an egg. That's going to be super nice. So another free worm coming through, that's pretty good as well. And you'll see we get a little bit of a reroll opportunity. I was definitely hoping for some nectar, for some fish, not to be here. So yeah, we are just going to have to grab a little bit of slightly different food. Kind of thinking maybe there's a world in which we leave those rats there, and maybe we can grab those on a future turn and play the owl with those. So that's what we're going for, a couple of seeds. So yeah, Swainton's Hawk, that's going to go away. But yeah, with the food we've got, as I say, can play this Goldfinch, and could sort of see with my opponent getting food, as I say, sort of imagining that we're going to see maybe with those 3 worms, those 2 tucking birds go down in the grasslands and just build something up there. It's obviously good for this end of round gold-filled columns, so yeah, we'll have to kind of maybe wait and see on that, but certainly looking at playing this Finch, and maybe just force the Ordwins as well. So, you know, as I say, didn't quite get the reroll we were hoping for, but we do still have the extra food thanks to some of this Phoebe activation coming through. So yeah, being able to get Ordwin's goal down just really upgrades his wetlands in a really positive way, getting, as I say, extra points. So now scoring 2 points each time, one of those being an egg, is so important. But just seeing more cards is key, and yeah, building this out, getting those extra cards, and still feeling like we can get a decent situation out of this game. I think, you know, it's very easy to get downbeat. I think with a poor starting hand like that, it's very easy to sort of mentally throw in the towel early on, but I think it's always worth, especially when your opponent doesn't have a great start either, but it's always worth sticking in, just sort of digging deep, and literally as well as metaphorically digging deep into the deck, and hoping, I say, with some of those tray resets, you get the good options coming up. And safe to say, we did there in the early game. But Goldfinch goes down, definitely a reaction there, as I say, to to the Violet Green Swallow. So I would expect that we're going to see Robin go down as well with the extra egg already, and then start using that grasslands. But it's definitely scary. It's definitely scary, because I think my opponent's got the upper hand here with building out this engine in their grasslands, but also just the card access. They're seeing more cards. You know, they've got that Great Crested Grebe, really good option, and now double tuck and draws. That is a potent combination, but we're getting points on the board. We're getting good score off this Omnivore Expert, so that, as I said, potentially going to be key here in this game. Scoring well off the bonus card's always nice. Had a good start on the end of round goals. Might struggle a little bit with this one, but yeah, we're going to try and hit as many of these as we can. And look, now we've built our wetlands. It's just crossing our fingers and hoping that we can find some good options. But certainly this golden eye is going to help as well. So 3 eggs coming through. My opponent's going to be hitting that grasslands a lot. We are so going to be ready to maximise off that and yeah, get as many free eggs as we can. So Pick up the Finch, potentially with bonus card. Get a very nice option off the Gull there in the Woodstock. So again, another omnivore bird. Getting lots of really good options here coming up. Definitely a bird I'll be looking to play later in the game. And yeah, obviously score on omnivore, but hopefully get another good bonus card from itself. So yeah, getting some okay options, but as I say, we're certainly kind of looking for that, I think, next good forest bird. So have got the Great Horned Owl, still sort of eyeing up those 2 rats in the feeder. Might be something we go for here, maybe, to try and get that down quickly. But yeah, sort of hoping for maybe a slightly cheaper option. It's still, I think, early enough in the game. You know, coming to the end of round 2, I think into round 3, you can still justify getting down those sort of midpoint engine building birds. I think certainly something like a chickadee or a nuthatch maybe be a little bit late for that, but you know, if we can find something that is good point wise, but with a decent brown power that's going to help get us some more resources, we can definitely build out something good here. Because yeah, the card access is sorted with the Gull, definitely helping out there, and yeah, maybe a little bit more digging may get us towards where we need to be here. And alright, on to our next turn here. And you see we're getting some more free eggs coming through, which is nice, but this gold finch, we are potentially going to be running out of space, especially with a bird like Pileated Woodpecker coming up in the tray. So, as I was saying, we're kind of looking for that sort of midpoint, good brown power forest bird. What more could you ask for, I think, than a Pileated Woodpecker? So, yeah, potentially nice, and potentially a really good one as well. I mean, looking at these last 2 end-of-round goals, it's exactly what Pileated Woodpecker was trying to do, get eggs in the forest, in those cavity nests. And, you know, my opponent already got good egg access, and we maybe not quite so good, but certainly, yeah, being able to unlock that through the forest. And, yeah, more omnivore birds. It's just kind of wild how many of these are coming up. So, yeah, black-headed gull may be something we might look to play. We'll kind of have to wait and see. Probably not the crow, but, I mean, it's 4 points with the extra 2 from the omnivore for just 1 food. Easy to get down, so yeah, could be something we look at doing later. But you see, I'm just kind of thinking this turn, almost just went and took food straight away, but I'm sort of almost thinking maybe next round, you know, get the reset, get the reroll, look for that nectar. There's no harm, I think, here in drawing cards again, potentially just still doing that digging, we're still scoring points, getting the eggs, getting the tucks, and again, just seeing more cards, which we need those for the grackle, we need to be tucking and scoring points there. And yeah, that's what we're going to go ahead and do, go and pick up yet more cards. So get a nice option there. Prothonotary Warbler, really good bird in this situation. Big points, big egg capacity, yet more omnivore birds, white stock off the top. So yeah, we're definitely reaping the rewards of this strong wetlands that we have got set up here. So yeah, no messing about. Into round 2, we are speeding along, grabbing that food, and yeah, we do get that nectar on the reroll, which is good. Is definitely going to help get things going here. Obviously, you want to get Pileated Woodpecker down pretty quickly. So yeah, just flicking through my hand, loads of good birds, but definitely some duds in there that we can get rid of. And I think for the rest of this game, really, it's just going to be finding the optimal way and the optimal order of getting all these birds down and sort of making that effective decision making based on the end of round goals, obviously based on my bonus card, based on where my eggs are, because as I say, we are maybe going to have some thinking to do in terms of clearing out the space on the grackle. We're going to have Pileated Woodpecker. We haven't got loads of cavity spaces. Maybe that Prothonotary Warbler might need to get that sooner rather than later into this game. Obviously, with these last 2 round goals potentially coming into play there. So yeah, we are going to have, I say, a little bit of thinking to do, but we've done our digging. We've found some good birds. More good ones coming up. I mean, Sea Eagle, that's another nice one for the forest, but I think we've got enough on our plate here, as I say, with already some good brown powers, already some good big point birds. You know, we want to try and prioritize playing what we've got, and we maybe have to draw once more in this game, but I think, you know, being patient on that. If you know you're probably only going to draw cards once more, leave it for when it's almost unavoidable. Leave it for when that Benelli or that Puffin comes up, because if you draw cards now and then have to go again later when that nice option comes up, you can find yourself running out of those turns to play the extra birds, which yeah, it's never a good situation to be in. So 4 turns left in this round. Sort of maybe looking at this end of round goal, entertaining the thought of going for it, but it might be a struggle, I think, here. You know, not that much egg space. Maybe the Pleat Woodpecker can fill up, and maybe the Grackle as well. But my opponent's looking strong in the forest, and even stronger now with the Towhee going down. So really unlocking the extra food access, as I say, unlocking the extra egg capacity. So yeah, we're going to have something to think about there. But just got to try and weigh up, you know, what's worth getting down next. As I say, sort of looking at this Horned Owl, looking at this White Stork, you know, how soon do I play that? Maybe make use of that brown power as well. Does that go in the grasslands? Does it go in the wetlands? Lots of thinking to do here, lots of decision making. And as I say, it's all about prioritizing and all about picking, first of all, which birds you want to play, and then which order you want to get them down in. So, and we are going to go for the rats. We are going to go for this owl, and you'll see we're throwing cards as well. So I'm sort of, you know, trying to do a little bit of calculating in my head of, okay, how many cards am I going to have to tuck on the Grackle if I draw again? When is that going to be? Is it going to be with the White Stork getting extra cards? All these kind of thoughts going through my head, but I think certainly there, that was a tempo play more than anything, throwing that card just to make sure I give myself a shot of getting this owl down, because, you know, it's a big point bird, but it's a brown power that is pretty reliable. So if I'm going to be taking extra food in this game, I want to be making sure I'm using as many of those good brown powers as I can. So you've also got this Warbler to look at and maybe think about maybe pulling a fast one in this end around goal, but I think it's just going to be such a struggle. We'll leave as many eggs as we can up there, of course, with the Woodpecker and the Grackle. But yeah, I think this might be one of those where don't get distracted by it. Just make sure you're qualifying, and yeah, don't chase it when you're going to lose it anyway. So we'll give ourselves that option, put ourselves in a good position. I mean, I think my opponent could, in theory, as I say, just lay eggs a bunch, really fill up that space in the forest, but no guarantees, no certainty. They've still got 3 turns left. Yeah, can never be too sure what your opponent's going to do. So it's just about being in that position, being ready. But we've just got so many good options. As I say, we've got this White Stork. Definitely got to play that at some point. And the Wood Stork as well. So a pair of Storks going down. But I mean, I want to keep hold of this Cassin's Finch as well, maybe, to see what that bonus card's going to be. Do I want to keep this Crow? You know, something's got to go. And again, I think we're looking to be quite aggressive here. Discard, get the extra food. I can kind of sense that as strong as this forest is, you know, food is potentially going to be a problem here, where if I want to be playing all these expensive birds in the last round, I'm going to really, really struggle. And that would have been another nice one there. Spinball kind of ruining my day coming up at that moment. Not scoring the point on the owl, of course, but yeah, it would have been a nice one to have in hand as well. So yeah, as I say, Crow and Cassin's Finch, I think in other situations could have been really nice options to keep here, but we just got to prioritize. We've got to pick carefully what we want to be playing, and yeah, just give yourself that focus, I think, on the right options. Don't sort of create too many options. Don't get distracted. You know, find that path, find those options. With just 6 turns left, I know I'm going to play those 3 birds. Probably draw cards once more, and then it's just about thinking, all right, am I going to find another bird? Are those just going to be to tuck under the Grackle, get those extra points? We'll kind of wait and see. I mean, it's just giving myself that flexibility, as I say, going into that last round and see if that big point option comes up. So, come through to the last turn around here, and you see my opponent's gone with the Kite and the Moltoni, which has really depleted the eggs in the forest. So, just doing a little bit of counting here, just doing a little bit of calculating. And yeah, there is potentially a world in which my opponent can, of course, fill up in that forest. But when you've got Moltoni in play, you've got to use eggs to play those birds as well. So we are looking, as I said, maybe playing this Prostitute Warbler. Maybe we can pull a fast one on this end around goal. Because I'll be honest, I think coming into this situation, I was just looking at maybe playing the White Stork, maybe use that in the final round, get another card. Maybe just play the Wood Stork now, see the bonus card, give yourself that option. You see, play the Warbler and almost get rid of these Grackle eggs. But as I say, it's just about thinking. It's just about working out, okay, you know, what's my opponent going to do? Played that Moltoni, got to be laying eggs, and you know, maybe there is something we could do here, because if we leave those 2 eggs, got the golden eye, maybe be getting a free egg on this warbler as well. So yeah, we're just sort of backing out, just as I say, giving myself that time, just sort of counting through and thinking, all right, what happens, you know, if they discard a food, if they discard a card. This kite as well could come into it, if that's going to hit or not. So we will see, but yeah, all we can do is kind of give ourselves that best possible opportunity. You see, we're leaving as well as many of these eggs in the cavity spaces, really hoping potentially on that last end of round goal. I mean, my opponent does have loads of spaces, but I think when you're going Moltonian, you're sort of committing to not using that grasslands that much. Gives me a lot of information, gives me a lot of security in, yeah, knowing that I can go hard on that one potentially as well. So we do, I say, play the warbler, and yeah, maybe slightly risky leaving all those eggs on the grackle, because it's tricky, because we don't have much food. We've got to take more food to play more birds. So maybe we're going to have to draw cards first, but yeah, I think it was a bit of a gamble. It was a bit of a you know, going hard for this end of round goal, where I saw an opportunity and I took it, and it's maybe going to pay off here, because you'll see the kite is missed, which is absolutely huge. Obviously not the most reliable ground power in the world. I think anyone who's played that black-shouldered kite has probably got enough experience of seeing it not work to be not too surprised by how this is played out. But you see, getting our free egg there, plop that down on the prostratory warbler, and yeah, we come into the teals and we're tied on this end of round goal. But as I said, playing a bird with the Moltoni, you're going to be spending the egg. And indeed, with Juniper Titmouse going down, we're suddenly going to win this end of round goal. So I was definitely happy with that. That was, I'd say, opportunistic is probably the right phrase for that, where I wasn't really going hard for that end of round goal. I wasn't really thinking about it too much, but it was just being in the fight and being ready to capitalise and just get those extra few points. And so definitely happy to be doing that here. So yeah, we come into this final round, and got to say, pretty nice tray. I mean, I think ordinarily birds like Godwit, Raven, those be good. I probably think my opponents could be taking those, but yeah, I'm not too worried, because as I say, we've already got a pair of Storks in hand, so those are going to be really nice. Should say, do have to think a little bit about the Gold Finch. Very easy to forget those yellow powers at this stage of the game. You know, I've still got to play something with that, so I do actually need 3 birds to play. Obviously, 1, you know, to be clearing out some eggs, ideally, and then yeah, you know, I'm going to have enough food where I can play a second, and then probably a third with that Goldfinch. I think really that's going to be the minimum that we're going to be looking to do. So we do have to gamble a little bit. We do discard off the Grackle, because yeah, we kind of need to see some more cards. Not really finding good ones, but then Alderman's Goal bails us out a little bit. An American Woodcock comes up, very, very nice. And yeah, this Pukeko has been really useful as well, just getting as many eggs as we can. Obviously this lasted a round goal. Eggs and cavity nests, just got a little bit of thinking to do about that. But yeah, we're setting ourselves up in a good position here, I think, where we can play those 3 birds and we can score good points. So yeah, 4 turns left. I'm going to look to take food twice, play 2 birds, and we should be well set up to do that, because you know, another good reason of getting that warbler down in round 3 is just building out that forest. Even though it's not a brand power, just pushes you out into that extra column, and now suddenly getting 3 foods with the potential for a 4th if I do discard a card. We should be good, because yeah, 2 turns taking food. Ordinarily it's just going to get a 6. We can look at throwing if we need to, and especially if lots of nectar is going to come up as it currently is in the feeder, we'll see if we can get our hands on some of that. But yeah, grab a bunch of nectar. Obviously make sure we're having some normal food as well for whatever we are going to play with the Gold's Finch. Obviously you can't use nectar for those game end powers, but yeah, we've got enough flexibility, I think, enough of these birds that kind of eat whatever food, and certainly some extra worms coming through on the Phoebe doesn't hurt at all. So we are going to take food here. Not quite the nectar haul I was hoping for. We do get at least 1. But again, just a good amount of food that we're looking for. You know, we're looking for worms and seeds and fish, and that's what we're getting that's coming up. And I think it's just about picking that food, giving that flexibility, And yeah, giving myself the option of a reroll as well on that next turn potentially. So scoring lots of points here. Owl sort of doing okay. I was kind of hoping maybe it would have more than one success by this point in the game. But we'll give it one more shot. But there's another thing to maybe think about here in this end game where you're just trying to squeeze as many points out as possible. And that, of course, is the Nectar. So we've not spent any in the grasslands. I'll definitely be looking at playing something there. Probably look at playing the Stork there. I think Stork and Woodcock, save on the air cost, is going to be good. Obviously, do have the Woodstalk as well for that bonus card. So that might be something, you know, maybe I look at playing that earlier, sooner rather than later, see what that bonus card is. Just give myself that little bit of information. But yeah, my opponent's not spent much Nectar, just one in each habitat, but 3 in supply definitely makes things interesting because that could go anywhere and that could flip one of these habitats. Potentially we're winning one and we're going to go to losing, so I'm going to have to be ready to react. Maybe, as I say, look at spending just a little bit of Nectar in the grasslands just to qualify, and then maybe keep the rest and spend it in the wetlands. Maybe I try and spend all of it in the grasslands and flip that Nectar habitat. It's just all going to depend on what my opponent's doing, so yeah, as I say, there's a little bit of an advantage in having that flexibility as well for us, just to really see where this Nectar's going to get spent, because Godwit's gone down, not spending any Nectar, keeping 3. So I'm sort of going in blind a little bit in terms of what we're going to do, but kind of have to play a bird here because, as I say, egg space is kind of critical. We're full on that Grackle. We're sort of really filling up on these cavities, which is good because it's what we want to do for the centre round goal, but it's kind of bad with the Woodpecker, with the Goldeneye as well. You know, we've got that to think about as well. So yeah, really got to think carefully about which bird I'm going to play, which food I'm going to use, because I've got to make sure, you know, if I play this White Stork here, if I use that fish, I now don't have a fish to play with the Woodstalk, and, you know, maybe that's the bird I want to play with the Gold's Finch because I want to be spending Nectar in the grasslands, but maybe suddenly I want to spend Nectar in the wetlands and now I need to play the Woodcock with the Gold's Finch. So you see, even with what on the surface feels like quite a straightforward and simple end game of just play a couple of birds, take some food, and then use the yellow power, there's still some careful egg management, still some careful Nectar management, and I feel like I'm in a good position in this game, but I definitely want to be squeezing every single point out where I can and just thinking carefully, just paying attention, as I say, with the end of round goal as well, and the pink power, don't want to be missing out eggs off that. So just really carefully assessing and weighing up, you know, maybe Woodcock's going to go down here. Keep the omnivore birds because I think those have the most flexibility in terms of that food cost, as I say, keeping the fish, keeping the rat as well. And this does at least get us that 1 Nectar spent in the grasslands. So I think that is the one that we are, as I say, eventually going to go with it. No, we're going to change our mind again. So yeah, maybe I'm going overboard here and spending a little bit too long thinking about which bird to play. But as I say, I'm just really trying to maximize here. I'm really trying to think carefully about where are these eggs going to get spent off. Where are we going to be really hitting on the bonus cards as well? To, you know, as I say, maybe there's some merit in seeing that now. So we do play the Woodstock, and it is, yeah, unfortunately not a great find. So Prairie Manager, Backyard Birder, I don't think we're really going to be hitting on either of those. So a bit of a disappointment. Was definitely hoping for more off that, but yeah, definitely good with the Omnivore just to get a few more points. And that Nectar that we spent as well does put us in a position where at worst we're going to tie, and I think that was sort of in my mind as well. You know, it would have been nice, if possible, to be able to spend 2 Nectar in the wetlands to just really get ourselves in a position that where we can't be caught. Same in the forest, you know, we're so far ahead there with the 6, but yeah, it's always one of those where you want what you can get from this bird feeder. You want as much Nectar as possible, and not always going to be the case. So Freya coming through there, very nice. Bit of Nectar that did come up because, again, this kite is not really doing its thing. And we're going to grab, yeah, as much food as we can, and just give ourselves that that flexibility, I say, as much as possible to see what we're going to play. So you actually back out of that, because I think here taking a fish is better. Go for that reroll. Another Nectar comes up, so that's really, really nice. And yeah, as I say, potentially competing with my opponent's nectar spending at the end could make things very, very interesting. So really, really tight on these egg spaces. It's, as I say, taken, I think, a lot of careful management here with the Grackle, with these cavity spaces. We're leaving ourselves one more available because I'm sort of expecting maybe my opponent is going to lay eggs again on this last turn and just hope, you know, with the card cycling that maybe another option comes up, or maybe it's just going for points, hoping the kite can do its thing. But yeah, I think we're well set, and it's just going to be about trying to sort of work out what my opponent's going to do with that nectar, where it's going to get spent. But I mean, we're going to be basically committing ourselves, I think, here to spending those 3 nectars in the grasslands regardless. And that could potentially do something here. That could potentially get us some extra nectar points, certainly through qualifying, but maybe through winning as well. So final egg coming through, filling up all of our cavity spaces, which is really, really nice. And you'll see just barely squeaking out this end of round goal as well. So Prothetary Warbler, absolute mega play, basically winning us these last 2 end of round goals, and just providing so much space for the pink power for the Pleated Woodpecker. So really, really good. Woodcock goes down, and as I say, with the nectar swing as well, we're just squeezing out as many points as we can. It's just what so many of these endgame scenarios are really, really, as I say, on the surface, simple looking decisions, but actually a little bit deeper than that, quite tricky to manage. And I think sometimes you can have those really, really close games where 1 or 2 points can make the difference, and sort of squeezing those extra points out through a pink power or through the nectar habitats, because you see actually only 2 nectar getting spent on the Abbott's Booby in the Wetland. So out of nowhere, we're going to win all of the nectar habitats, and that is a lot of points to be scoring, as is White Stork going down at the end here with the Goldsfinch. So another big play. Loads and loads of big point birds went down late in that game there. Obviously good for us and exactly what I want to see. And I'll say really good performance on the nectars. I was happy with that. Didn't feel like we got loads coming through on the bird feeder, but we used it well, we used it effectively, and we'll see how much that's going to help us coming into the final score. So as I said, we played a lot of big birds, especially late, so I'm hoping for a bit of a lead here. 59 bird points is good. Not quite so good on the bonus cards. I mean, Omnivore with 10, but 0 on the other, so definitely a mixed bag. Strong in the end of round guards, so 20, and even a good number of eggs, so we're holding a good lead. Quite a few tuck cards as well, as I say, with the Orduins, with the Grackle, massive nectar points, and it is a massive score as well. 131 in the end, up against 87. So yeah, really, really good game. I was super happy with how this played out in the end, especially thinking all the way back to that starting hand where we just kept a Barris Goldeneye, really couldn't get anything else good in that starting hand. So decent bonus cards all round for my opponent. Nothing too flashy, but nothing terrible either. But yeah, super happy with how this came together. As I say, with the Grackle early in the forest, definitely a little bit unusual, but I think we built a really good forest there with those strong Baron powers. And just really, I think, good decision making, good careful thinking with those end of round goals. You know, being able to pick up those last 2 end of round goals. That was a big swing of points with the Nectar as well. So maybe not needed in this situation where the margin was as big as it was, but I think it's always worth getting into that mindset. It's good practice to be sort of doing this in every single game. Make sure you're ready. And yeah, squeezing out those extra points, always a good habit to get into. So there we go. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. Thank you very much for watching. And if you want to see more tournament gameplay, do hit subscribe. Make sure you're following along. And I look forward to seeing you in another video very, very soon. Yeah, we're definitely reaping the That's a good blooper.